It's the end. Go. Thank you very much, Undercover. Ches, love your vids. Thank you very much. Thank goodness I'm unemployed. Let's go. What's up, Bill Cosby? Dude, I heard some pretty bad shit about you, man. How'd you like the Meat Canyon video? I think it was very clear. Probably one of the tamer Meat Canyon videos. What drama is next so far? We got some more Mudhar stuff that'll be coming, but I'm taking a break, going over to the cabin this weekend, and I'll be back to it. Unless Mudhar is his new cash cow. No, we're just wrapping up yesterday's coverage, kind of capping over the whole arc. I'm gonna see if I can maybe get someone to cut down the VODs here. I'm just running out of time before I go on vacation here, so it'd be nice to have something cut down for you guys. Thank you very much, Dalton. From what I understand, Pirate just went on a vacation, which I don't blame him for. I'm sure the last month here has been pretty stressful. Have you gotten in on the iDubbbz drama? Try to stay a bit clear. It's very political. It's a very politicized drama. I do have a sheep hoodie from his Rice Gum content cop and diss track. I used to watch a lot of his stuff at that point, but I'm just not very interested in politics myself, so I didn't take a look. I watch it, but not cover it, I guess I should say. They said you were done with Pirate. We are. This is the second part. This is the continuation of the stream from last night. We're just going over and finishing up the last of my videos, kind of going over everything. And then outside of any new info on Pirate, I don't really have anything. I don't have anything more for the Pirate drama. So we're just gonna be moving on to covering bigger and better things. The Ashes of Creation marketing scam. I definitely haven't heard of that. Of course, if there's new stuff, or, you know, stuff surfaces, duh, but like, we're doing other stuff. What's the TLDR from last stream? Essentially, we were just covering the first half of the month with the videos that I went over, kind of just recapping the entire drama. And if I can spin it, it'll probably be one giant, in totality, like cut down VOD from last night and today for a big like recap of the month here. This is just a continuation of last night. We didn't get through everything. Are you deleting your comments as well? I don't think so. What kind of stuff are you planning on working next? Pretty much just any drama stuff. Like, so just anything like drama-wise that's hitting the fan. What should happen with Pirate Software? I don't know. I'm just covering this stuff. I can't really better society in my place. I don't got like a, I don't know, I don't got a doctorate. Can't wait for the inevitable Quintheo lolcow arc. That'd be pretty tight. When it happens, at least make some good coverage of it. There we go. You did see this title. You saw this title last night. I am yeah, what is that? 15th second generation. I cover my own lolcow arc would go hard. Mudhar addressed the engineer allegations. Yes, we saw a bit of stuff last night. There was some extra Mudhar stuff. I'm kind of ashamed that I won't be able to have more time to make a video about that. But yeah, Harmful Opinions got some shit wrong. Mudhar responded. Not a great one, so we'll be going over that. Why twerk on the N in that particular area? I think that's a loaded question that you secretly have the answer to. I don't get the Mudhar stuff. Why is it so bad? Titling and talking about yourself and also the discrepancies in his work is just kind of showing an entire timeline of someone who is like very clearly compulsively lying about things. And to have a commentary and to have a trusted take as like a commentary person or to like give reviews about things, also having a complete history of being a compulsive liar kind of is not a great thing. That's definitely, I think, something to be considered, especially if you're consuming content from somebody that you get your reviews from, get your information from. I think that's the main component. A lot of people were also talking about the legality of it, which like truly, as like people that watch YouTube and stuff, I don't think that matters nearly as much for the average YouTube viewer if him like saying that he was an engineer is breaking a law. It has more to do with like the respect to his takes on things, which even in that case, he's, from what I understand, a lot of people kind of like rallying around Mudhar during this. I don't want to say rallying. This isn't like a crazy drama. Is essentially like his stuff still holds up, which he himself said in terms of his tech work. So it's kind of like, you know, no harm in that. I think I'm much more interested, and maybe I should have made the focus of my video of that more about the compulsive lying and his history of jobs that just does not add up at all. But I'm realizing that I'm quite parched right now. The music will come back up. Give me like 30 more seconds, and then I will be right back. I got morning voice. I got to get rid of it. I'll be right back. Muda's already responded. We're back. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's close off. I'll answer a few more of your guys' things as we get started here. Behold. How y'all doing? Okay. There we go. There we go. You don't have to, for the record, you don't have to stop watching Mudhar. Like, it doesn't like, it's not that deep. It's just, yeah, it should be something that like viewers are aware of. You can take it for what it is. Any drama that it, like any drama that I'm covering, I'm not gonna knock anyone that like watches my stuff if they continue to watch or disagree with me. Like, I'm just covering it. I have like an opinion on it generally, but like I could be wrong. Like, I'll never know for sure. I'm just playing, yeah, like dumb. You shouldn't feel dumb for liking pirate software. And I liked him too. You didn't know the stuff that we know now. It's like just hindsight's 2020. Soon as, okay, let me see here. I think I'd seen something. Yeah, there has been a Muda update. He apologized, like a 2-minute thing. And then also Harmful Opinions screwed up some of his coverage, so he made an apology video as well. 2 apologies in the span of a day. Excuse me. Thor hasn't streamed coming up to 10 days now. Yeah, he was on vacation. I mean, he's messaging in his Discord and stuff. But like, I don't know, if I were to go on a vacation, I'm still gonna be chatting in my Discord. So yeah. What is, sorry, it was someone, what did I see this? One of you guys sent something, it was weird. Okay, whatever. Does Muda's apology save him from legal trouble with Canada's Professional Engineers Act that can fine him 25K Section 40? I don't know, I'm not a Canadian lawyer. I have no idea. Like, the most, yeah, bro, Harmful Opinion was like the most honorable thing I think I've ever seen. That dude had if you guys ever have to make an apology to your family, to your workplace, to YouTube of all places, I don't know why you'd be here if you're at that level. Take notes. Harmful Opinion had an absolute banger apology that was the most respectful and just honest, like, apology video I've ever seen. Well, I guess honest is like a bad way to describe it. Like, it was, but that wasn't the main point. The main point is it was just very, very clear. You should feel a little bad for liking him. Like, bro, you supported someone who a lot of people over the years have told you he was an ass. It's willful ignorance at this point. Agree to disagree, GT. I think his statistics and numbers would tell you that it's not willful ignorance. But maybe that's just me. Also, a really good way to make sure that people, you know, don't hear new information and change their minds is by putting them in a defensive place and shaming people that originally had an idea that, you know, people don't like, and then changing that. That's to cast shame on people like that is going to do a lot more in hurting people in terms of changing their minds and moving forward and developing new ideas than it would help them. Fair warning, thank you for the 5 €5, I think. If you're getting into VTuber stuff, there's a lot to cover. It's been an annus horribilis, is that Latin, for the scene? I'm sure there's been a lot. I know about the Visojo stuff. I don't think I'll be covering that unless there's some new stuff, because that's pretty much dead now. Like, everyone's really gone over it. I wanted to at the time, but Pirate at that same time went after my Discord, so I had to make a response to that. Heard his voice, didn't really sound that deep. I too have a horrible anus. Thanks for Stormgate and love your content. Dude, yeah, I'm glad you like Stormgate. Hell yeah. Okay, well, let's get over to finishing this up, because I've got to leave in a couple hours. There we go. There we are. So, we got this. I'll be doing 2 parts. If anyone here has a sizable interest and is willing to be paid, I need to get these cut down for people, as I'm not actually, I thought I had a lot more time, but we have so much that we're covering that I wasn't paying attention to. So if anyone is willing to, would like to join the Discord, I am going to reach out, probably do an announcement to see if we can get these cut down into edited down VODs for people for over the weekend while I'm gone. But I just wanted to put that here too, because we've got, I'm sure some people here that are not in the Discord. Fantastic. Pay for an After Effects license for me and I'll do it. That's funny. Okay, well, last we left off, yeah. Let me see here.
Because I know what I'm...
Yeah, so it was this video. Now, there is going to be one video that we won't be going over, which I'll explain here. This was the original Pirates... Pirate Software might be getting sued video. This is what that one is. Hello, here we are. Now, the reason that we're not going over this is because I honestly thought it was a pretty weak video because it came from this guy, Endymion TV. This is what it is. And essentially he was saying Pirate Software might get sued for his behavior when it came to the Stop Killing Games initiative and like screwing with the like the signatures and whatnot, except this came from a LA like municipality code, like legal code, which yeah, Los Angeles municipality. Pirate Software is not in LA. The Stop Killing Games initiative is in the EU. So there was just like, it was such a very specific thing. And essentially this video is just breaking down the argument that he made and saying this is a load of hoopla. So it doesn't make sense. And I thought it was kind of dumb. So I made a video about it. I wasn't super proud because like at the end of the day, it really didn't have to be a cut down VOD from stream. Like it was a very, I thought it was more interesting than it was. And then once I had the video out and kind of like watch it again, I was like, well, this is like, I already covered what I needed to in the stream and it wasn't like it needed its own dedicated video. That's probably the one I least enjoyed, or like, I think I would like regret. It's like, I guess I didn't need to make that video. But I mean, I think his video maybe got some coverage. Whatever, though. The next one here, Pirate Software, caught lying again. So we're going back into it. It had no jurisdictional basis. Exactly. Could you talk about how he almost made his dad cry? There was a short of him not messaging his dad on his birthday, let alone messaging him for that entire year. Pretty cringe stuff. Pretty bad. But, I mean, that was it. It's a YouTube, it's a short, looks pretty bad, makes him kind of look like a meanie pants. Can't really speak to their relationship. Let's see here. So this is this one here.
This issue, like he's being disrespectful to the only people that are still sticking around.
Aha. So this one was essentially, hold on here.
Let's check the Steam updates.
I love this one. So he's talking about checking the Steam updates. So a lot of people were going after Thor because the Heartbound updates that were coming out, people were noticing that there had been a year where he did not do any updates for the Heartbound game, and he had started to say that he makes an update for Heartbound every month. And then he starts going, well, if you guys want proof of that, you can go back to the Steam page and you can go through and see that each month there's been an update that's come out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go check that out and see if one has come out every month. That didn't happen. And he just about, and he shows it as, like, he literally shows that fact when he's talking about it. Here, let me get rid of my face here so you can see him.
For Heartbound on the first week of every month. All those people who are making videos about that are fucking morons. They should probably just check the Steam updates. That's like, there's literally an update that goes out the first week of every month. Yeah, they're just content farming. Like, here, I'll even show it to you, man. Even though people are, like, review bombing the shit out of the game. Here. Boop. You can just go down here and see the announcements right here. You can actually see all of the patch notes. They're all there, right? It's all in there. You can just go see it yourself, going all the way back, right? So, like, right?
So he lied, and I went through. I actually watched. He actually showed it in his stream. He actually showed the moment where he wasn't updating the game every month. So we code over here. You can see. So I included it in the video. I zoomed in. This is part of him scrolling. The April update that he was talking about was moved to May 1st.
And then it was just called the May 1st update. And then he had posted one in June. So he didn't actually get an update through in April. He had 3 separate posts in April talking about an update coming. And then he just said, yeah, it's going to the end of May. So even in his own thing where he's calling people content farmers, guilty, even with him doing that, he lied. Like he belittled the people that were calling it out, and then he was wrong. Like all he had to do was just say, yeah, April's update. Like wasn't able to get it. This is an exception. I apologize, like anything, and it would have been fine. But no, he's like, yeah, they're morons. Look at this. Here's proof of me being wrong about that. Or maybe he's going after the semantics of, well, it is an update if I'm letting you know that there's content coming. Like I guess, but yeah. Also, I mean, it's already been gone into full detail, but the updates and the content that comes in with these updates is so abysmally small. And he's been working on like the last 10% of that single chapter for like the last couple of years. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Moving on though, kind of go over this, and then I think this is your streams simultaneously. Oh yeah, and so we had people that were like enjoying Heartbound, and I was going through some of their comments, and this had to do with his January update as to why he was gone for a year, and it was pretty much just him talking about he's got a bunch of these mods that he's now got salaried, and he's paying them a lot of money, and the stream is really blown up. Just like a lot of cop-outs for why he hasn't been working on it. And then it was like, okay. And then the people in the comments, if you just go to read them from that video of him addressing why he hadn't been updating for a year, are just like, this is really shitty to hear because you've just been playing World of Warcraft and Ashes of Creation for like 12 months at a time. Let me see. Here we go. Everyone, wow, up to...
There we go. There it is. I love Thornall, but hearing him say that he had no time to develop Heartbound while streaming AOC and WoW up to 13 hours a day seems insane to me. And then down below that, I'm sorry, but you don't have enough time while you're doing these 12-hour-day streams. You obviously have time. You just choosing to devote it to your streams instead of the game you sold people. Don't get me wrong. If Thor wants to swap to streaming as his career, that'd be 100% okay. But if that's the case, he's like, he needs to state that openly. You should refund the game. Going nearly 2 years with no updates. I think it was 13 months. Maybe it was more, but from what I understand, it was 13 months. No, I just haven't had time. When there are hours upon hours of VODs of him screwing around on WoW leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So yeah, that was kind of where we were at. Do you have to be to still like Jason after this? I don't think you got to be smooth brained. I think I've chatted with some people who are Pirate fans, like truly over the last week here. I've chatted like 4 or 5. Most of the people that I've spoken to are very kind. They just don't like drama. Like there are people, I know that's weird hearing that with our little niche here is like you're here for a drama stream right now. But there are people that just flat out do not enjoy drama. And so I talked to them. They have completely like not listened to anything that has happened over the last month. They're just here to listen to what they're just here to watch Pirates content. They don't care about the drama stuff. They're irritated by it both ways. So they're just chilling. They're not interested. And honestly, I can respect that. Like if you're like, that is the definition of separating the art from the artist. Hope you make a shorter video about this. I'll see if I can get someone to cut it down. I actually understand that. Yeah, right. It's totally fair. So, and those people that I have had discussions with and like have chatted, like talked a little bit about the drama, they're very reasonable. Like there were distinctly a couple of times they're like, I disagree with your points here. Totally fine. But like there'd be points from like, well, this is, rude behavior. This is irritating, or this is like clearly setting a double standard, or like he's expecting this, but this is what he's doing. They're like, that's fair. So like the people that I've chatted with, most of them are like, yeah, that is pretty shitty. Honestly, though, I just want to watch the content, or I'm an aspiring game dev and like he inspired me in that way. A lot of like other people, and that can be held more, I think, emotionally closely to like some of his super fans that have like stuck around and kind of, watched him grow. Like it's
it's strange to me that some people aren't interested in knowing that information, but at the same point, I don't know, if they're happy and they get to enjoy content from their content creator, and by ignoring the drama, they don't have to deal with all that bullshit. Maybe that's the right way through. Maybe what is that? Ignorance is bliss, and maybe that's just okay. Because at the end of the day, you're just watching me or these people are watching Pirate for entertainment. And at the end of the day, that doesn't really fucking matter, because that's time that, I mean, you're wasting to enjoy your life a little more. It's not giving you money. It's not doing those things. So I get it. I don't need to keep beating that point in, though. But this is that kind of example showing the early access, the 13 months ago last update thing. So that's what people were calling out. And then there were some people that went down and like went through and like showcased all of the updates and what they completely amounted to. So like essentially it just boiled down to doing, oh, hold on, where is it? 1.5 years of work got players new facial expressions for 3 characters, some more dialogue options in already existing dialogue trees, and some bug fixes for code he already wrote. So if you can distill down updates that spanned over a 1.5 year into like a 2 sentences, which, you know, maybe he's minimizing, still, that's insane. That is like nothing. I would think most people would view that as. And then I think that pretty much wraps up. That was kind of the big info dump for that video in particular. And then we have this here moment, like coding. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, thank you so much for the £5 here. Jason's fans are just like him, doubling down on supporting him after every single criticism without the ability to recognize his abhorrent behavior. I mean, you're always going to have people that do that, but I also don't think that demonizing the fans of him. I think it's very clear why a lot of people don't like him. I think it's clear that we can look at the behavior. But in the same way that I was talking about it earlier, I think if you're demonizing the other side of things and you're like going to call them stupid and shit, that's like, you're guaranteeing that those people are never going to actually sit down and have a conversation and respect you, because you're being an ass to them. They're not the ones that are doing the shit that Pirate Software is. Maybe they're defending him, maybe they're doing these things. But if you want to actually have a conversation and actually like move the meter for people like that, you don't be a shitter about it. That's why, I mean, even with Pirate Software, I've tried to be fair. I've tried to be objective about things, and I've tried to give him credit where credit's due. Because the last thing that is going to work and the last thing that is going to get him to maybe change his opinion or like kind of ease into it in any sense of the way would be by trying to show good faith. Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy take. In an incredibly polarized political state that the U.S. is in, I think maybe just being willing to have respectful disagreements with people, even if you think they're dead wrong, is going to get everyone a lot further. It's not hard. I don't think that's a wrong thing. There's a certain point where you are being unreasonable for separating art from artist. Example, people that viciously support Hassan, they refuse to look at the drama, which can be bad. Sure, but like, how does that impact their 9 to 5? Like, how does separating the art from the artist, how does that impact someone getting food on the table? At the end of the day, they're choosing to spend their time watching something, like to waste their time and just kind of enjoy their life. Why do they need to give a shit? Like, I just don't think they do. I think that is a very reasonable take to be like, I consume this content, sure, that's shitty behavior, but I'm not going to waste more time worrying about the efficacy of it. I'm just going to watch this 20-minute video and go to bed. Like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Like, just because I find it very interesting, because I find it useful, or like that does impact me, because I'm a bit more terminally online than most. There's fucking plumbers watching shit, bro. Like, there are people that are union members that are watching this stuff and don't give a fuck, and that's okay. Is a highly personal choice versus an absolute standard? Absolutely. Abso-friggin-lutely. Even if we don't agree. Exactly. But cool. Okay, so in here. So we had a Fat Coding Jesus response. Oh, yes. The smart fridge saga. This is one of my favorites. Yo, thank you for the 20,000 IDR shelf. Hi, shelf related friend here, Gok Quint. Thank you for the donation. That is our mod. There we go. It can be very dependent on the person. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's not ruin the VOD too much by going on too long of a tangent. So this bad boy right here. So there he says it directly.
There's absolutely no reason for me to update that framework because it is efficient enough to run on a smart fridge at maximum capacity.
Well, does he have any evidence to back up this claim that it runs on a smart fridge? He does. Incredible. So he gets it to run on a smart fridge, or maybe not. So TLDR, for an entire stream, Pirate Software went onto his live stream and was essentially saying over and over and over again that, you know, in response to Coding Jesus's videos that he had made talking about the shitty code of it, you know, I don't need to update the code because the game can run on a smart fridge. Except it wasn't running on a smart fridge. It was just, it was using the smart fridge's display as like a monitor, as a screen. It wasn't running through the internals of the smart fridge. It was running on a separate laptop or Raspberry Pi, one of the two. This is all just recap, correct? Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
We also went over essentially in the beginning of it. What's up, Quintheo? We ran through essentially different parts of Coding Jesus. He was responding to Coding Jesus and going after his credentials, being like, oh, here it is. This is what I was talking about last stream too. So he was going after, he's like, oh, Coding Jesus is making these videos so that he can push these $350 an hour consulting sessions. We went fully into detail, talked about how freelance works like that. Like I was an acting coach. And so I started by charging like $25, $30 an hour, moved to doing something like $90 an hour, because over time you attract more people that are interested in the work. And then when you have too much of a workload and need to like thin it out, you raise the price. Also, you gain more expertise, so you raise your price. And then you also have more proof of concepts. Like I was having people get gigs, get commercial gigs, get like film stuff. So I get to raise my price because I've learned more and I've got more proof of like what I'm doing working. And so by the end of it, I was charging $90 an hour. Well, Coding Jesus explained to me and actually had a response that I pulled up on screen here. Here we go. So he was essentially detailing that he used to be doing it for $150 an hour, and he's been offering it for 3 to 3.5 years. And the first 2 was that. And then he got overwhelmed and decided to purposefully make it expensive to prevent so many people from like purchasing in. And so last 1.5 years he had lifted it. So we go into detail of that because like essentially Pirate was just going after like character assassination, tainting the waters of what Coding Jesus was covering to try to like, I don't know, mitigate the people like taking it seriously. And then after that, we dive into, I actually interviewed Level 5 Fish, which Coding Jesus had spoken to. We went into that, but then we got into the smart fridge. And the smart fridge had a lot of funny info. And so here it is. Essentially, it was just showing, he played this exact same video of the person who had it, like they plugged it into a smart fridge, or not plugged it in. I think they connected it through like a Wi-Fi hotspot. But he played this video over and over and over again of connecting it to the smart fridge. And so we break down, explain why pretty much everybody, yes, casting, exactly. They were just mirroring the screen essentially. And so everyone was essentially going in and ripping that argument apart because it was like, okay, well, if you're defending your poor code by saying it can run on a smart fridge, well, then it needs to actually run on the fucking smart fridge. And it wasn't doing that. And so him going over and over and over in his stream saying that this was like, that was a reasonable like defense for what he was doing made zero fucking sense. And I think my favorite part of this one, which is something that you are going to see continuously, is that this argument doesn't really like, if he didn't say this, if he didn't say, I don't need to work on the code because this, I even made this argument myself. In my interview with Level 5 Fish, I was saying essentially, you know, the coding can be bad. The comments on it can be bad. Like the main thing that I was learning is that Pirate Software's code is horseshit. it's going to make the game harder for him to actually finish developing because of all of these issues that, you know, we've run into. It's incredibly unorganized or disorganized. It's not labeled properly. There's a bunch of like just weird stuff about it. Smarter people have explained it in better detail than I have. I essentially was like, you know what? Fuck the noise. If it runs on like 90% of machines effectively, then I don't really care. I'm looking at it as more of like the consumer side of things. If he is saying that the bottleneck, which he was saying it wasn't about the coding, it was about writing it, I don't really give a fuck then. Like if the coding is not an issue, great. Spend more time doing the writing. Fuck it. If the optimizations are not needed and it runs on most machines, I just want you to get the fucking game out. I just want the people that have already pre-purchased it, the people that have been waiting on this for years at this point, I just want them to have their fucking game. So if you're not going to optimize the code, whatever. If it's going to be an absolute shit show, but it still runs for the people that have purchased the product, great. That's what ends up mattering. And so that was kind of like my main argument. And I feel like he could have just said something similar. And instead of just saying, you know what, writing is actually the bottleneck, which he would mention, instead he had to include, well, it can also run on a smart fridge. If he just didn't fucking say any of it, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. You can give him shit for like his writing being bad or anything, but at the very least, you could just look at that as the bottleneck. And he didn't even need to say that the coding is up to par. He didn't even need to like admit that the coding was shit or anything like that. He could have just said he needed to focus on the writing and that the game is optimized enough so that it runs for most people. That was essentially my biggest gripe with it. It's like, okay, you know, we didn't need much else. And I think that was fair. Like, if you're just looking at it as a consumer, that's the main focus, just getting the game out and having it playable. And from what I understand, the game is, for the most part, playable by most of the people that have it. Heartbound runs on the lunar lander. True. There we go. And then I think, okay, let's move on to here. So right after this, we have Pirate Software starting to spiral. So essentially in this bad boy here, I was going over. So it wasn't just the people online, you know, that were just giving him shit, right? There were his fans. His fans were in the messages or in his Discord trying to help him. Like, they were trying to say good stuff. Gertzner, thank you for the $5. Had to step away from the stream again, but I'm back. Oh, I'm glad you're back. So hold on here. Heartbound runs on your pacemaker? Holy shit, Rock TV. That's incredible news. Here we go. Okay, so wait, what is this here? Okay. So essentially, I had seen some messages from his Discord where Pirate was responding to some of his fans that were essentially saying, hey, you should probably not like interact so much with the drama because it's clearly only making things worse. Like, every time you speak about this, like, they weren't saying this directly, but like every time you speak on this, something else comes to light, or you just blatantly lie and then more videos get made. So maybe like tone it back a bit. And Pirate is not interested in hearing out any of his fans, who I would say would be the most good faith, the most honest people that you could like really get a good litmus test from. And he was like freaking out at them and also kind of recognizing that there has been a drop off in his viewership, in his revenue, in these things. And he was worried about like, he's going to have to downsize. Like, people are going to have to get let go, like things like that. Here, I'll play the intro here.
Brutally honest with you, and even reiterating multiple times that they like you, knowing that they have been a part of this server for, you know, close to a year at this point. How would you respond to something like that? Some, like, I would say objective criticism in voicing their concerns with you. Now I'm going to show you the direct opposite of whatever you just came up with. Pirate Software responds to them saying, Doomer detected. Honestly, if all you're going to do is Doom post, just wait for me to be done and stop busying yourself with it. I'm literally writing right now, lol. Pirate Software is freaking out right now, and he's coming to grips with the fact that this who don't get it.
So this is like the main big message here. This is what he was saying while he was, you know, starting to what looked to be crash out. He was not super happy. Going to be real for the people in the back who don't get it. You know where this road of attacks and well poisoning ends? It ends with shutting down company and firing everyone if they manage to poison enough people. It ends with no longer being able to support the ferret rescue unless I can snag a job that supports it. People think this is some ego trip shit. Fuck no. I have people to take care of. I'm not going to sit by and let that shit happen, and you're dumb for suggesting it. Get fucking real. Seriously. Yeah. So here's my issue, and I think all of you are going to readily understand this. We're kind of getting to more recent stuff, so you might remember. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Well poisoning? Brother, it's your own actions. There is no well poisoning. There is educating people on what you're doing and how shitty it was. So this isn't well poisoning. But number two, like implying that it's going to be our faults that it ends with shutting down the company and firing everyone if they manage to poison enough people. Who is, bro, they is you. You are the person your actions are causing. And so like, let's also think about this, right? If you, Pirate Software, I would say a lot of the people that were just kind of like watching from around him, Steampunk Ollie, oh my God, no, another mod. Thank you so much. Imagine blaming everyone else for your own ego. Exactly. So imagine for a moment, guys, you remember the OnlyFans stuff. I think, and I'd actually like to see it in chat. I'm sure some of you guys will probably agree with this. The OnlyFans stuff and seeing how he behaved in that, I think that moved a lot of people away from him that weren't like that weren't diehard fans, people that were keeping up with him, donators. Like, I donated to him once on like an off thing, but like, I think that most people that were just kind of like around the edges, maybe you weren't even sub to him, but you watched his content regularly, around the OnlyFans stuff and seeing his behavior, that's what drove off a lot of those like just kind of general, you know, we'd pop in here and there and then just kind of wouldn't, like, you kind of stopped engaging at that point. Check my front stoop. Oh. Hold on. Are you being dead ass? I dropped off the OnlyFans stuff. But do you guys, are we on the same page here? I think that's fair. Well, okay. The point that I'm making with that is that most of the people, and I'm making this argument, this is a complete hypothetical. We're just kind of like shooting the shit here. That's a thing I really enjoy saying. He's not going to blame himself for his success and blame his audience. It's not, and blame his audience for his decline. It's not right. So if we take a look at it, the people that would be like donating the most to him, the people that are like giving him, I would say the majority of his revenue, those people are only really going to be impacted if they start seeing Pirate behave in a way that they don't like, that's like very clear. Because like, even let's say, you know, people that donate to me, things like that, you're probably less likely to drop off if I get into some like, you know, random drama like the World of Warcraft stuff. It was like, Like there were a lot of creators, there were other creators that were doing dumb shit at the time. Like, it's whatever. I'm still going to have my sub to this person. But then we moved over to all of the drama with the Stop Killing Games initiative stuff, and it went very viral. And his behavior was then put on display for even people that were like regularly donating to him or watching him or like having a sub for him every month. And now he starts impacting those people. Those people start looking at him negatively. Well, that ends up being you. Like there isn't a whole lot that other people can do around you. Think like Dr. Disrespect, again, for example, where he still has this like core fan base. But a lot of the edge case, a lot of the people that were just like kind of, you know, popping in, seeing shorts of him, things like that, they stopped engaging. And then he turned heel and then just focused on like a diehard loyal fan base. Well, Pirate Software started losing those people that were regularly paying him, because he was being a shitter. So they end up leaving. That's less of a chance of being like the other people's faults. And in my head, it's more likely that Pirate Software's own behavior is what's going to drive those people away. And so like, if you're starting to look at like a huge revenue, like drop off, to me, that should indicate that there's something going wrong with what I'm doing, not with how people are perceiving it. Like, even if their perception, I believe it to be wrong, something has to like click in your head that like, well, no, I'm definitely impacting this in some way. So yeah, maybe that made sense. I kind of rambled a bit there. I got got taken off topic. Hold on, I'll be right back. Well, I'll check my porch. Yo, what the fuck? Hold on. How did you, Axmanheim, how did you know about this? Hold on, this is like taped very well. Hold on. What the actual fuck? What? What? It's hundreds of babies. I'm gonna try to show it to you guys. It's just babies. Why? How do you? What is this? Why'd you just send me a bunch of babies? What the fuck is this? Look for a note? There's no note. There's nothing. It's just babies. It looks like ground beef. What are you on? Dude, this is my baby's first PO box. They've got little butts too. I wish I could show you guys. The little guy, got a little bit of hair. Okay. Thank you very much. Who sent this? There might be a note in the bag. Hold on. Okay, yes, there was. I know what you did from Mother. So this is from my lead mod. Everything is scripted. It's just my mod sending me shit. Okay, that's great. Okay, I have to show that to my fiance later. Should I get like a glass jar and just put all the babies in it in the background? Thank you very much, Mother. This is so dumb. I'll have a little jar of babies. The first third generation Blizzard employees. Let's go. Okay, incredible side tangent. Try not to accidentally use them as cereal. Yeah, we'll do. Glorious gift from leader of your Discord. Yes, thank you very much, Mother, if you're watching. Okay, fantastic. I got scared a little bit. I didn't know what you guys knew, and it was weird that you were all saying, yeah, it's there. MCP propaganda, it really is. Okay. There we go. I can grow a really shitty beard. You know damn well Mother ain't watching. Yeah. Okay. But so yeah, as we were talking about on our tangent, you know, just made sense that Pirate, you know, he said it wasn't an ego trip. It was. Also specifically right here. I have people to take care of. Brother, you know the best course of action if you had people to take care of that, you know, it would probably just be to say sorry. Just move on. But I digress. We go in, we talked a bit about that. And then he had that big message, and he talked about, so first it was just kind of like, hello, sorry, I'm small now. Also timed out and banned people for putting middle finger emojis on the announcement, idiot behavior, things like that. Wait, nice. I think you're giving them satisfaction by even reacting to it. So I had blurred the people's names and stuff, but it was other people that were like trying to say countering his timing out and banning. So another thing I didn't bring up, this dude had a counter for the people that he was banning off of his streams. He had gamified being toxic on his streams and didn't see how that could maybe make things worse. I have people to take care of, constantly self-sabotages. Yeah. But so I was just kind of going over that. And Pirate was responding to these people that were like trying to like help him out here. What's up, Mac? Oh, by the way, he was such a 4chan troll back then. He said he was on 4chan a lot and nothing could bother him, and then he got bothered by stuff. Timing out and banning does not counter misinformation about my work. Evidence does, provided now. And then I also went over, this is like, people were connecting the smart fridge.
That, and it's looking like it was actually only...
There it is. People were setting up the Heartbound on like a fucking $30 Temu Apple Watch, shit like that. And then so other people were like leaving messages. Honestly, having seen this kind of situation happen again and again, the only thing you can do is defend yourself and wait, hoping the internet will find a new target. That's just sadly how the internet works. You can't reason with it. You can't beat it. So there were even people like, you can disagree with their thoughts on it, but this is still like good take. It is still like a kind of like what Mudhar did, you know, defend yourself, make your point, then shut up and move on. So like, you know, agree with the point. And then so he says, I think you are at risk of throwing further gasoline, some other person here. And so they had mentioned, or I think this is actually in reference to laying low. In that sense, no, I don't think simply lying down to take the abuse is the way to handle it. Make yourself and wait. So they're pretty, you know, they're saying, you know, lay low, chill. I think you're at risk of throwing further gasoline on the fire. If it's too hard to ignore, maybe try laying low for a while. So that's what Pirate responded to. And he goes, ah, yes, the streamers laying low, LOL. Insane request. Brother, he wasn't telling you to get offline. Although, Pirate, if you guys haven't noticed, Pirate's been absent for like a little over a week, and it's actually made things die down. Like, I'm doing these recaps, but there's been no new Pirate software drama. The interview stuff came out with Quintheo, his former like coworker slash like superior slash roommate, and that's been it. It's not new stuff, and like it is going to die down if he stops talking about it. They were correct. Oh yes, the streamer laying low. Well, he was able to take his vacay, so maybe it's in order a little thank you to that anonymous individual in his Discord, because it fucking worked. Did he not stream like 2 days ago? I don't think he did. Could be wrong. I haven't been like checking every day or anything like that. That sounds really funny that I said that out loud though. You don't have to reason with the bullshit takes, but you do have to defend yourself from shit like this. Otherwise, the people in the middle won't know anything and will just instantly side with the only voice in the room. You've made your side very clear. You've been very loud about your side. But moving on. You know who does care? The tens of thousands on the sidelines. They don't care. That's why they're on the sidelines. Those people are just coming here to stream and seeing you show numbers of bans you have. So other people now talking about the ban counter. By the way, a little bit after I covered this in my video, I'm not saying that I'm the reason. I'm just saying like in the timeline of events where people started like telling him, hey, maybe having a ban counter on your stream, maybe that's not helping. Maybe that's actually incentivizing people to be shitty because they want to see the number hit 1,000 by the end of your stream. He ends up removing it. But this is the thing that he said in response to this. So those people are coming over the streams showing the number of bans you have without context. It looks like boasting. Trolls are giving that context already, and gamifying it with ban announcements and counters is just encouragement. You're going to fight this fight for the rest of your career this way. Well, I have fought that shit for 6 months without the timer. Your route does nothing. Your route makes things worse. I think having it do nothing is better than it being worse by adding the counter. So yeah. And then there were other people talking about like legal. That was essentially it. That was the main thing. There was this very not cathartic, but there was this very the main one that really got to me was this. This message right here. So let me minimize myself a bit. I want to read this one again because this was like the most like real heartfelt shit. Like this is the most like, I don't know, if you have a close friend that is heart to heart and like says shit like this to you and is just kind of like honest with their thoughts, it's a good friend. I said, by the time the game is done, my son will be in college. And I might be misunderstanding, but are you saying it's not even halfway done? I like Thor, but at this point, I feel like my money has been wasted. Between buying the game, buying Heartbound merch, subscribing to his Twitch and YouTube, it just doesn't feel like I'm supporting an indie dev with a dream as much as a Twitch streamer with a side project. Its priorities have changed drastically. We haven't had an update on Heartbound since May 28th, presumably because of the game jam coming up. Perhaps he should take a year off and of that and focus on something else instead of telling everybody for months that Animus is done, which there is video proof of him saying. Again, I like Thor and I truly want to believe his motives are good, but man, it's hard. This is like such a like an authentic message. Like it is so hard to look at this and then like get hit with this. This guy's like being a shitter. Like he's like saying over and over, like, dude, I like you, but this is like, it's fucking getting to me. Like he's seeing time go on after he's made this like purchase and like supported this guy and watching him completely change. Like that's just such a fucking real message that like that it got to me a little. Thank you so much for the $10, Pantheon. Thick like a plot twist, smooth as a show. Milkman Quintheo's got that milky flow. It clings to your spoon with a silky tenacity. Pour it, sip it, respect the viscosity. Thank you for the poem. That's incredible, Pantheon. Thank you for using viscosity too. That's very kind of you. This is how friends discuss. Getting criticism is useful. Yes. And I'm like, I literally glozed this comment. I'm like, and this person had been there for like nearly a year at this point. They had been around. And then Pirate responded with Doomer detected. Honestly, if all you're going to do is Doom post, just wait for me to be done. Stop busying yourself with that. I'm literally writing it right now. Bro. Good faith criticism is not claiming that your son will be in college by the time the game comes out. It's just stating things as raw and aggressive as possible while being an ass about it. Fuck's sake. That's like, if that is all you can get out of a message like that, you're doing something wrong. Like you are, and maybe it's impossible to notice, but brother, you are getting so fucking defensive. And that was the kindest like upset criticism I think I've ever seen about Thor. Yeah. And then he goes, and then he like, you know, starts telling him how he should be handling this with tact. He goes, you could just be like, hey man, when is this coming out? Not writing a novel about all the imaginary shit that's going to happen before it does. Crazy. You know who could have used this advice? Not writing a novel about all the imaginary shit that's going to happen before it does. This part here, all this imaginary shit, the well poisoning, all that. I digress, you know. And then I think he ends up deleting it. He says, the fuck are you on about? So yes, he did say that. Shit's not necessary. Rage bait banned. Rage bait, brother? The most heartfelt fucking criticism I've ever seen in my life. That's rage bait? If that's rage bait, brother. God damn. So yeah, that was essentially it. That's probably... That one, like, I think emotionally I was invested in that one the most because it was just like seeing, I don't know, there was such clear support from the people in his channel or in his Discord that like truly, like very clearly respected him and wanted to help him. And he just completely bit the hand that fed him. Yeah, his ego raged against the dying light, if you will. Insane behavior. Insane shit. Okay, dude. So that was that. And then it led into this bad boy. This was a big one. This was an absolute monster. So Pirate Software just got caught. TLDR. Did you ever see Apeshit God Complex PS went in Ashes of Creation? I heard about it. I saw a bit. I think I covered a little bit of it a while ago. But I'm probably gonna look back into that. I actually have Ashes of Creation. I want to play it, but I'm sure it's gonna be a time sink that I have to like commit to, you know. There we go. Decision to rage bait ban him from the internet? No. Opinion on the state of affairs and its rage bait? Yeah, exactly. Working on a project for your channel soon. Do you want to voice act in it? Fuck yeah. Next minute in the PS voice. Yeah. So this is how we intro it. So this all starts, actually, I can just show you, I can just walk through my own video and show you guys what it comes from. So this was just a random tweet. Someone had reached out, like someone in my Discord mentioned that they had seen this tweet. This person had been like sending this message over and over and over again. He goes, Pirate Software accidentally revealed his DMs with Kronos during the April 1st Twitch Gigatrain, showing that they were boosting it themselves. This is why the stream is unavailable to watch. And they were including this screenshot, but we didn't have a way of like really confirming that this is real. Like obviously it looks decently real, but it's blurry. It's hard to notice. And now like in this part of the stream, we're now going to actually be able to start getting into including updates, things like that in regard to what has gone on so far. So specifically with this, we have, we actually end up finding that screenshot. I go through, I read through it. I go over that and then I verify if the screenshot is real. Well, somebody from Kiwi Farms, so I was sent this VOD. I was sent this VOD to go over of the actual VOD from the same day of the hype train. Essentially, the allegations were he was working with Kronos. They were corroborating to keep the hype train going, keep it leveled up. As if it ran out of time without someone donating, the hype train would die. So Kronos was adding bits and stuff when the hype train was getting close to ending. Here is an example of that. There we go. So you see down here, did 50K bits at 20 seconds left. So we go over how do we verify it's real. There was someone that had sent me the VOD. I didn't know where it was from. They're like, I have the VOD here. And so we were able to for sure find that specific moment where he had those messages up on his screen. Well, I didn't know until then, so I'm kind of doing it again now. There was someone from Kiwi Farms that had that VOD, and then someone essentially got it from them and then sent it my way. So I found out afterwards. So give credit to, I think it was like Scorpion from MK or something like that. They're the person that had the archived VOD. And I want to give them credit. I didn't give them credit in that first video because I didn't know. But they were the person that had this archived, and we wouldn't have been able to like verify that without it. But in this VOD, I'll play you the clip just to like show you guys. We were actually able to archive a VOD of this exact stream where we're able to prove that those. Oh, I did give him credit. Discord is that's where it was sent in. I didn't know who. I didn't give him credit in the live stream that I did covering it. Archived this, but I want to give credit to the individual who had this archived VOD, and that is Scorpion from MK on Kiwi. Scorpion from MK, yeah. That's because we have everything to see exactly what I'm talking.
What?
So this is him pulling it up right there. This is him pulling Pirate side and delete.
Where is it?
And then he goes in, like we know it's him because he then goes into his own server and ends up deleting stuff. So we breaking down, I made Alex, so I went over that. I showed that yes, so what's his nuts? Kronos went onto an alternate account, Serendipitous Bean, which he mentioned in the messages here. Where is it? Alt account Serendipitous Bean, it's behind me right there. But so he ends up doing this. And essentially the argument was Kronos is allowed to do whatever he wants with his money. That was like their main argument coming out of this. Talk about clearing queue, and then I made assumptions here. I'm actually going to play this part because it's important, as this is going to be addressed later. But listen very carefully to my speech here. But now let's talk about that Twitch terms of service and if this is breaching that terms of service. Now this hinges on the hypothesis that Kronos is getting paid back by Pirate through these bit donations that he did. And he did 75,000 bits in total, so $750. Now, of course, there was a little bit less due to that 12% discount, but that's the ballpark here. And again, reached out to see if someone from Twitch can actually better clarify if any terms of service were broken. So at this moment, this is all just speculation and I don't have any other confirmation. Now, what I'm showing you guys here, did that sound like I was making allegations as though they were true? Does that sound like that? Honest opinions, guys? Would you make a "it's over" video about me for saying that the terms of service breakages were true and real? I personally wouldn't. Sounded a bit like I said it was speculative. That'll be important later. So I also spoke with a lawyer talking about the potential legal trouble. I went over this part here off the information that I have about the deal.
Real bad.
But now let's specifically tackle legality. Like, US law, is what he did illegal? Based off the information that I have now, it's very, very shaky at best. And I say that because it's the information that I have right now. Now, in a future video here, probably within the next few days, I'm going to be having a full-on conversation and go really in depth about the details of this with the lawyer I was just showing you guys clips from. And I think through... I actually ended up talking with a different lawyer. That I'm going to have a much better answer for you. But as of right now, when we're focusing on the legal aspect of this, looking at US law, the first thing that I want to point out is I don't think that this is like money laundering. I think it's kind of so again, I'm making very clear that we're speculating, we're riffing here. I go over and I talk about this, and to my surprise, I've had a few people that are like friends with lawyers that have watched this video, including the person that I did speak with, Legal Mindset. And they said that they were very impressed with what I covered and the arguments that I made in terms of the legality of it, because those would specifically be the ones that would actually be like realistically applied in a situation like this. Not saying that it was like a concrete example of it, but like that would be the focus you would go into. And I got to give credit to my Discord community, because I didn't come up with those off the rip. Someone else had mentioned that there was like FTC rules like about deceptive business practices. They linked me to the PDF that I ended up using. I like spit a bit. They linked me to the PDF of that, and then I went through that and I found the points that I wanted to use myself, but like I was completely like guided that direction. So it was a shout out to like my community. You guys were the main reason I did that. And then there was also I made like a little rebuttal point at the end, but that was essentially the big beef, right? Well, Kronos reached out to me during this. And a few interesting things to note from that. Number one, he's apparently, it appears that he has unadded me as a friend, although we had some messages before. Now, he ends up sending me this message. Let me open this. This is his message that he said was leading up into the messages that were screenshotted in that like exchange between the two of them. Or should I ask Shay? Ask Shay. So Kronos then says, okay, so I've already dropped 100 tier 1s, so like 1/3 of last year. But as I said when we discussed all those weird as fuck messages sent around the community in January, I'm going to switch to my alt in case I want to drop more. If I do drop more, I'll be dropping them at the end of a level timer, the 30-second mark, for example, because the community always tries to last second it, and Twitch is lagging, so that's a recipe for disaster. Out of interest for when I stream in May, what's the best way for people to take part in hype trains? If it's about to lose, sure. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first went over this, I didn't really think much about it. This looks so fucking weird. Right? Like, I'm not crazy here. Ask Shay, and then suddenly he's talking about and like justifying every single point of the argument that we were making. Like, just read this. Like, read how perfectly this answers all the questions that we have about the DMs and how it does not add up at all with how Pirate Software is responding. If it's about to lose, sure. Also, it's edited. We can see that it's edited. Well, I message him, right? I say, thanks, man, I really appreciate it. I say, he says, I know people are looking for some big gotcha and have a bunch of different reasons, a bunch of different stuff to say about Thor, but like, and I said, are you comfortable with me sharing that with my Discord? He says, yeah. He's like, this is me donating to a mate, as I've always done. I've donated to every big event we've had across the years, and not just in Thor's community, blah, blah. And I said, it's also clearly you stating you're keeping the train alive in this process. And he says, which I do elsewhere, sure. And I said, I do want to clarify you have a reason provided. So I normally, their payment lag ending a train feels shit. And I said, so there's the implication with you being the head mod, and the fact that it's done with an alt is what doesn't sit right with me. It's not clear with an audience, but I see the argument you're making. In my follow-up video, I'm going to detail that because I think it's important to show that. Didn't end up getting to do that, but also you've gone out of your way to clarify this, and I do genuinely appreciate that. I know that can't be worth much coming from me like this, coming from someone like me in this regard, but I guess take it for what that's worth to you. I guess last big thing that I'm curious about, if you don't mind. And so I go into that, and then I also say, people are pointing out the message is edited. If I could see what the message previously stated before, that would help too. And he goes, he also said he wasn't reimbursed. And then I said, are you able to screenshot of you hovering over the edited original message? He goes, how do I do that on mobile? You can't do it on mobile. So he's like, I hate Discord. Why do we not get a feature parody after such a long time? And so I was like, okay, where is it? Apparently when you, back at your PC, go ahead and hover. Well, at around that time, I had also let him know, hey, I'm going to be going over your message, and the fact that you haven't sent me like the timestamp, so we still can't see when you edited that. He goes, I'm away for a few days on family stuff. Thor has made that clear on stream, apparently. Well, fun fact, he lied about that. Thor just made him go on a vacation, but he never went on vacation. He just still was working behind the scenes. He completely lied about it. I trusted him. I took his word for it. Turns out that was wrong. And we found, we actually have a little clip, which is new. And I'm going to be showing you guys that, of Kronos himself just admitting that he didn't actually go on vacay. He could have just sent me the fucking timestamp, which he still has not done. If he wanted people to, if you really wanted to squash this shit, all he'd have to do is send that. It would make no sense for the guy to have edited it as recently as now. So if he has proof of that timestamp happening around the time that it was first sent, then we'd know, and that would be done. So yeah, he's a liar, dude. Don't take anything this people as good faith. Yeah, I mean, I'm going off of just what they're saying and the implication of the things around it. But that's kind of, so that's where that video left off. I kind of went on a tangent there. I'll show that clip later here. Actually, matter of fact, no. Let me just show it to you guys now. One sec here. Oh, there we go. I did download it. Okay.
Didn't Thor have to make me.
There we go. Okay, this is it. Here we go. I'll show you guys. This is on Kronos' stream. Kronos streams, by the way. Let me duck my head out of here. There's Kronos.
Thor have to make me. The thing is, I didn't actually take a holiday when Thor made me take one. I just continued working quietly in the background. I haven't taken one yet.
So he did not go on break. He did not do those things. Again, he could have sent me the message. They just kind of used it as a cop-out. He even kind of ridiculed me for, didn't Thor make that clear? I guess him being honest definitely could have bit him in the ass, because he'd think that I would like go public with that and talk about it. So I understand. I also think that he very clearly, if that timestamp of him editing that message was actually going to make them look good, it would have been posted everywhere and spammed. So I don't like getting hypothesize, or I don't like theorizing on something that's so easily like solvable, but the more and more that they're not doing is just making it look a lot worse. But that's kind of this one here. And then now we're actually going to see the recent person here. This right here is, I believe, Cynthia Hall. They were a former roommate as well as like former coworker of Pirate Software. And this first part of the interview was actually focused on their tenure as a Twitch terms of service, or as a Twitch employee, where their focus was TOS. So I was able to work through with them. And essentially this entire video is dedicated to them essentially ripping apart all of my arguments about the terms of service being broken. Like my speculations on that, they were not true. And she has a lot to talk about. She confirmed what I've been saying for a while. This video is great. She confirmed that my Twitch terms of service breakages were, you might be thinking of the second part. But so this one was essentially going through piece for piece and going through each point that I had made about the Twitch terms of service and her explaining what the actual reasoning for the terms of service were for. And so that was pretty much all that was touched in this. And then the also had shown a yearbook showing both of them together, and we actually got a better photo of it. I'll show it in the second part of the interview. But this is the first part. It was just showing, it was essentially just being like, hey guys, I was wrong. I was wrong about each of these, and I'm glad that we actually had a Twitch, former employee to clarify those points for me. I think it was, I think it was very useful in that sense. But moving on. Where are we at? So that was the ex-roommate stuff. And then if they want, I had a sit-down chat with Pirate. Oh, sorry. Pick Twitch and other online platforms. So babies, how are we doing? Sorry, I haven't really checked in with chat recently. You're right. Twitch don't give a damn. Exactly. There we go. Is anything new being said here? We're actually getting into the most recent updates, like with the Chrono stuff, but like this is just a recap of everything we went over. This is kind of like closing that saga, having like a big old compilation. You can call me a Nepo brother. There you go. Yeah. Use digital arts. I am milk. Okay. I'm glad. Yeah, we got some stuff here. Is the stream sponsored by Coca-Cola? God, no. I wish. I don't know if I'd take a sponsorship from Coca-Cola. That's a lie. If they gave me a lot of money, I would. Sounds like you did a thorough job. Thank you very much. Well, over here, I ended up having an interview with Legal Mindset. And we kind of touched on those legal aspects that I talked about in the beginning of my, or at the end of that hot video talking about the inflated hype train. Mindset's history, so you guys understand that for this.
And I worked for.
So he goes through, talks about his credentials.
Have a bias. Companies can have.
The main big new thing from this was him also talking about those deceptive business practices, where those come into play, but also went into showing the new information that we had found at that point, which was that, yes, for sure, Kronos was getting paid out from the hype train. So he had a vested interest in keeping that train moving forward, because let's say like him, keeping it going up ended up working out really well. That means that more people were going to donate in. And then there was a good chance that with his donations, he was going to be able to extend it to a point that naturally more people were going to donate to it. And then he might have actually ended up getting a return on the investment he put into the train. Now, that didn't end up being true. It did not end up becoming a very huge train, but you can see like that's kind of the line of reasoning. Well, we were going over showing the previous messages, which Pirate actually ended up using in announcements going after me and like trying to discredit me, showing that it was made clear like 2 days before the hype train event, April 1st. Oh, thank you so much for the $20, Philosophy. I really appreciate your fair and even handling of all the drama materials. Cheers, bro. Thank you very much. But so he goes over, also surprised that I've been keeping from the team till now. Over the last couple of months, we've had to deal with an insane amount of moderation work. So 50% of the train will be given as bonus to all the staff members outside of myself. So I essentially was saying, if Pirate wanted to dodge all this, didn't want to like deal with the drama, instead of his response to everyone like finding out about this info through my video, going over everything, if instead of him saying, Kronos is a grown man, he can do whatever he wants, it's his own money, he's a grown-ass man, if he wants to donate that money back to his boss, he's allowed to. If he just said, yeah, actually the entire team, like, you know, the fans of, my fans, especially in the Discord, were made aware that half this was going to my moderation team, that probably would have dismissed stuff. It still would have been, there still would have been a pushback because of Kronos using an alternate account, because the excuse that he gives for that being that he doesn't want to like get gone after doesn't make sense, because he already donated 100 tier 1 subs on his main account on Kronos, and on top of that, they deleted the VODs afterwards. So like he wasn't actually saving his skin by doing these things. They were just cop-out responses. So yeah, not great. But so that was kind of like revealing that information, Legal Mindset Night, and essentially like how that makes it look even more deceptive when you're going into it and talking about it, especially with how he reacts to it. The fact that he like was saying that Kronos wasn't getting reimbursed. Well, effectively he was, through the hype train and through the, the proceeds, half of it going to his mod team. Now, whether he didn't get reimbursed in full or did not get paid more, but that's because the hype train died. But moving on from that, that was essentially everything that we covered there.
So there are no guarantees. Clear a spec I like to see.
And that brought, there we go. And so that was kind of the end of that. I think this is now where we get into the big one. I think this is it. Yes. So that leads into the magnum opus for me of this. Instead, and that was the first introduction of the milkman drip. Now, essentially, and I think we can just go over it. So number one, at the same time, actually, no, I should show you this first. So Pirate Software comes out. What's up? It's Milkman Me. Pirate Software, yeah, second generation Milkman here. Context, a content creator called Quintheo is continuously farming ad revenue by making false claims and drama content about me. Only one part of that is true. Or excuse me, only one part of this part here is false. And that's saying that they were false claims. I am making drama content and I am farming ad revenue. Do not get that twisted. So recently he claimed that Kronos broke terms of service by giving bit subs to the Giga Train April 1. I speculated. And I proved that I was wrong. We kind of went over that. But he goes into this, goes fully in depth about this. I show my response and how I was like saying I was wrong. And then he starts saying, now for the 1-2 punch against this bullshit. Quintheo's Discord has people actively doxing me in it. His moderation team is aware of this and has been encouraging it as shown in the images. They've also, digging into Shay and her job as a secondary attack vector. So all this stuff. He goes crazy at me. He's furious. So like I said, and then, so the reason that I had to stop, I would have responded to it faster. But the main reason that I didn't is because I got a fake, that's how it's labeled, fake cease and desist. There's someone impersonating Pirate that was sending a fake cease and desist to me and then a follow-up saying they were taking legal action. So I got a lawyer and I shut the fuck up because that's what you're supposed to do. And then we found out that it was fake and it was like, okay, cool. So we're good to like move forward. So I made my video and that's that took me so long. But in this, we go over it. We go over the doxing accusations in full detail. I go over all of the messages that were covered. I provide extra context for it. I show the mod that he said was supporting doxing behavior, who was making a joke in a message. He was like, oh, send me so I can have the tea earlier. Well, I break down Shelf's context here, and essentially him going, yeah, we should not be including this stuff. It could lead to doxing. Not good. So it was pretty much all this stuff. Pirate are not in your Discord. Like the mods of Pirate are not in your Discord. Yeah, for sure. I'm guessing like to be as courteous as possible to Pirate, I am assuming that he did not find the screenshotted info that he posted about. Because if it comes out that Pirate did the research that that it took to like post those and censor the screenshots that he sent in. If he was the one that strictly did that research, he's a fucking moron. Like by all accounts. Everything that he had argued, truly, if he had just like read around and looked at the context surrounding the messages that he posted, he like, this is definitely not him. Like I have to believe that someone else gave him the info and he just took it at face value. Otherwise it looks horrific for him. Now there was a guy named Jglo who was in our Discord and was sending messages that were number one. So some of these censored ones that you're seeing here, some of these censored images were images of Pirate Software's mailbox that Pirate Software took himself. They were pictures that were pulled from Pirate Software's Twitter, which I'm going to double check right now, are potentially still public on his Twitter. Let me see here. Yes. Okay. So the mailbox images that were used to find Pirate Software's location, like not even on my Discord, they weren't like dropping his address. They weren't doing anything like this. But the images of his own mailbox that he has posted on his Twitter were the ones that were used to find his location. That's still like not a dox. It wasn't including any of his like publicly available information, but we've got Rainbow people, right? So he accuses me of that, which is like, okay, you're censoring them, which makes this look like his address is like on display or like they took photos of his house or something, which wasn't the case. Now there were other messages, and I want to preface this. I know I'm like being defensive right now and like defending myself, but I want to make it clear that had we seen these messages, even the ones about Pirate's mailbox, because surrounding it, Jglo was talking about all you need is a rain precipitation map and the date that he posted this image, and you'll know like how to find him. That's cringe as fuck. I don't want like even tangentially like, oh, this is how you can do it. I don't want that on my Discord. And so truly, whether or not like, even though I disagree with Pirate that there was no docs of his information that was on my Discord, it still is behavior that I'm not okay with on the Discord, and that none of my mod team is okay with on the Discord. So all that to say, yeah, like it shouldn't have been there. It was not a dox. But so the other images, which again, not okay, Jglo included, were screenshots that were from like Google Maps. And it was like, or not Google Maps, but like Google Street View, where he zoomed in on what he thought to be the same mailbox that Pirate Software had posted. Like he found it. Now he zoomed in super close on it, and he also censored the sides of it so you couldn't see the numbers. He censored it in the same way that Pirate had in his post. Again, not okay. But in terms of it being dox material, it was not. It was not even close. Additionally, he had shown like proof that he knew where the ferret rescue was. And again, it was incredibly zoomed in photos. Jglo had reached out to me after all of this and had said that he intentionally made these images not reverse image searchable, so you couldn't even find where he had found these photos. I went and checked them myself. He showed them to me. So through all of that, in essence, behavior, bad, not okay. Like, even if Jglo feels bad for what he's done, like even if like I don't think Jglo is a bad guy per se, but that is a walking case of like you're going to fuck around and find out, and I don't think that's okay. I don't think like going around toting like, oh look, I have this ability to find people, or like flexing that, or like showing that it's just cringe, and I don't like it. I think I've made that point though. Let me see here. Moving on to that was essentially the crux of it. And then I also just showed I don't know, basic default canned. Look, my mods are saying don't do this stuff. Crazy. Yeah, mods saying don't do things. And then I also included proof that I had reached out to Pirate Software weeks ago with the maybe I should just play that. I had reached out to Pirate weeks ago, July 11th, to talk to him about a potential dox that there was out for him that like one of my viewers had noticed and reached out to me about. They had reached out to his mod team beforehand,
but he came to me and like mentioned it to me. So I reached out to Pirate and was like, hey, so there's some like potential docs information on you. I showed him steps on how to like reach like the public website that had his information. I told him that there was like a way apparently to like circumvent this or private that information, and was essentially like, hey, like you don't even need to respond to me. This can all be kept private. I just wanted to let you know, like this is here. And at the very bottom, I said, regardless of if I like or respect you, vice versa, swatting is fucked. I just needed to make sure you saw this in case it's an actual problem. Again, this has nothing to do with drama, and whether you believe it or not, I'm genuinely sorry that you've been swatted. Wouldn't wish it on anybody. I was doing my damned best to be respectful and to call this stuff out, and for him to turn around and then like paint my Discord after clearly probably not doing his own research as something that would like welcome like doxing, things like that, was just pretty jarring. So yeah, that was kind of like in essence that whole debacle, made my response. And then lastly here, most recently, Pirate Software's ex-roommate speaks out, which was the second part of this interview that I'd had with Cynthia. So we kind of went through, and so the reason I'd cut it down into two parts is because the Twitch terms of service stuff was like way more important for that moment, and then I was just gonna follow up, but you know, cease and desist and everything, I backed off. This part was her detailing her experience with him as a coworker, in which case he was hopping on Reddit like immediately as soon as he started working at the job, which completely refutes the claim that he made that he got his second gig at Blizzard off of his own like merit as opposed to nepotism. Seems very clearly that it was. And then she also details like a TLC hoarding buried alive like a horror segment of only living with Pirate for a week. I mean, they ended up living together for a couple of weeks, but she put her foot down and said that he had to go within the first week. And it's interesting. I'll play a clip from his first day working there. Important for, let's say, for instance, the Diablo 3 testing. So what was the important stuff that he needed to take care of, and then what was he doing alternatively?
So I was also the person who wrote all of the test cases. He was on the monsters team with me. So we're talking dealing with all the spawns in the game, all of the boss testing, having to do all the smoke tests whenever there were new builds, that just end to end, make a character run through to skeleton king kill. Like that's just testing the builds. Whatever the task was for the day, it could just be spawning different monsters and testing their affixes to see how they perform. That easy. But he would just kind of create a character and idle in the client and then read Reddit. That's literally what he did. He sat in front of me and I was assigning the tasks. So not only did I see the work he was not doing, I saw what he was doing instead the entire time.
Okay, so sorry, to clarify,
Yeah.
He was Redditing instead of doing his job, which was essentially instead of spawning in and just like running Skeleton King, which I know is like literally that first act, or just testing monster spawns, it was just him browsing Reddit.
Basically. Because it was apparently too demanding of his time.
So, like, again, like, that's something that you would get reported for. Like, you and we couldn't survive just browsing Reddit instead of doing our fucking job.
Just need stuff.
Like, if this was and so we went into it, like, it had to do with nepotism. Like, it wasn't like Joey Rahal, his father was, like, had this, like, you know, adoration for him and would destroy anybody that went against him. It was just, like, if you're in the gaming industry and then you are then known as someone who has reported or gotten an executive's son fired or like an executive's kid fired, that will forever be a part of who you are, and you're essentially blacklisted even for doing that. So yeah, and then they talk about the hacks team. We go into him screaming at his coworkers playing League of Legends when they were doing a charity fundraiser thing. How they became roommates. So we talk about that. Why they stopped being roommates, which was just he had a cat that ripped the shit out of her chair, which he never paid for. And then we go into detail about the absolute disgusting state of his room and the cryptid shit.
Over time, you just want to come home and be a bit better. I'm like, this week to his bathroom, and I like just looked inside because it was in the hall. I peeked in there and the place was a fucking sty. He had never put up a shower curtain in the bathroom. There was like ashy stuff everywhere, like gray ash kind of looking spots everywhere, including like in the shower, on the floors, on the countertops. The toilet it had been a fucking week and I could not understand the state of things. Let me just say that I was very concerned. Okay, and the sum of it all, I was like, this is not gonna work out, my guy. So I just like had a talk with him and I was like, hey, look, like, this is not a thing between us because you're a cool dude, but like with the cat, you said non-destructive, but I'm like, my name, property on my record or anything. I took it as a he move out. I wish I had to clean everything by hand. There was like, I don't know what on the walls in his bedroom, and you're just gonna have to like take my word for this. I don't know if it was snot or something else just like wiped here and there on the walls, and more of the like random gray stuff, just spots and things. It's very clearly not like smoke ash because there was no odor of it or anything.
That is just strange. That sounds like a cryptid.
It was very strange, right?
It just cryptid shit. So, yeah, it just absolutely bizarre shit. We don't know what the ashy substance was. I'm really interested to hear. Quintheo actually ended up streaming, and they went more in depth about this stuff, I believe, yesterday. But I also showed message proof between the two of them, going over like, you know, proof that they did interact, like had this, you know, set up thing. So I only owe you 71 more bucks, like them talking. And then kind of wrap it up. That was essentially it. That was our last video about this, but I think someone linked it to me. If you guys would like to, I can throw a link if you guys are interested in some of that new info that comes from her stream. I don't know if there's an edited down version of it, and I don't have time to go over the full thing in detail, but that would definitely be interesting. So let me retract my previous statement. That is just super fucking disgusting. Yeah, just bizarre shit. Let me see. I think we have it. I think maybe we have a news link about it. Let me see here. Did we get... If someone could throw out a news links, I think someone sent it over my way, but I couldn't find it. Where? Let me jump down. Does anyone have it here? Let me see. Maybe it got sent to me privately. Oh, here we go. Okay, wow. It is a mega stream. It is 7.5 hours. But here's the link to that. And you could also like sub to her on, or excuse me, follow her on Twitch. Let me put this in here for you guys. That is the Twitch VOD here. But that kind of wraps it up. I mean, that is the end of the pirate drama so far. Like, I really think that is like the ultra major majority of everything that was covered. It's been an absolute blast. There was a lot of responding to Quintheo video at 3 hours, 30 minutes. Okay, so 3 hours, 30 minutes. That's sorry. There we go. I know I'm saying I thought it was weird. So yeah, 3.5 hours. Now, like full looking over it after the fact, I'm blown away that there was so much that came out. And I think a main reason that I went for a full month and I made so many videos, and I mean this, I genuinely believe this. I think the second half of everything that was covered outside of like the stuff that got brought up through the VOD being resurfaced and talking about the hype train, was most of my videos came from responding to Pirate Software responding to the drama. Every time that he said something, it either ended up unearthing another lie. Think about Slop News Network with the COVID stuff, or his response to something was so poorly done and so easily provably false that it made for another like entertaining video. It made for another useful video calling out that bullshit. And so, like, truly, if Pirate Software had not addressed any of that, if he just shut up, played Noida, and did not engage with the drama following the Stop Killing Game stuff, I would not have had half the people that are probably in this stream, more than half the people in this stream to chat with here. I wouldn't have been able to make the videos that I had. It was It was this. That's truly it. Someone asked about the SA allegations. I did cover my thoughts on that and how I go over it in the previous vid of this, or a last night stream covering the first half of things. But that's essentially truly what I believe for half of it. I've tried to be as objective as I can. Obviously, I have bias like everybody else. I try to be clear about that, and I've tried to give credit where credit's due to Pirate. I've defended him where I see that it's fair, talking about the people that conflate the him being a furry in the past with the ferret rescue, shit like that I think is just stupid. We have no proof of it, and I think that is just kind of hating to hate if you don't have evidence. Things like that. I think that has been the most useful. That's the thing I'm most I don't want to say proud, but I'm content with how I've been able to do that side of things. Obviously, it hasn't been perfect. I'm, still going to learn to be better. I didn't like the lawsuit video, not the most recent, but the one where I was talking about the other video. I think that ended up being probably the most worthless video out of all of them. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm super grateful to have had all the people that have shown up. Obviously, there were so many YouTubers making videos about pirate software, and for some reason you guys chose to stick around for my content, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, strive to be better. I don't really want to rest on my laurels with this. I don't think this is my magnum opus. I think I'm just trying to get started, and I want to do as good of a job that I did with this in my eyes, and the people that have stuck around with every future drama that I cover. So that's the goal. And hell, maybe we make some more Milkman stuff. Maybe some more Milkman merch. I'm kind of liking this whole gimmick here. From PS, I gained 35k subs. Not as many as from the Mr. B stuff, but we're getting close. But yeah, we'll see. So hopefully, honestly, for the sake of Pirate, hopefully he develops. I truly wish him the best. I hope he strives to be better. Again, there's very few people that I'll just genuinely hate. I might say it in the moment, but it's a net positive for everybody if anybody's able to grow. And I'm definitely, there's going to be some dumb shit that I do in the future, and I'd be I just hope I'm given the same grace that I'm trying to give other people in situations like this. And it's looking like when I get back from vacation, it's looking like there will be a bit more Mudhar stuff to go over. But who's to say? Something crazy might happen over the weekend. Excited for anything like that. But yeah, nodders. Bro, you are not gonna be given any grace. Okay, potato. Well, that's it. I don't have much else for you guys to go over. This VOD will be up as well. I'm gonna label it part 2 at the end. Do your shit. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you want to join the Discord, shoot the shit in chat. I'll leave a link to that for you guys here. Even though I don't agree with everything, I really respect you as a creator, and I've only gained more respect since we had that talk. I hope things turn around and this ends soon, but thank you. Of course, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Yes, this started an hour, almost 2 hours ago. I'm so sorry. Everyone's hopping in now at the end. Let's see here. At the very least, even if I'm not giving grace, even if I do something absolutely horrific, please don't view me as a good person. We're like my tenure, my career on YouTube is drama. I'm essentially a TMZ with less paparazzi. We're doing this for the entertainment and the endeavor of trying to just have useful discourse with people you don't agree with. That's literally why I started doing the channel the way that I did. Here's a link to that Discord. Take a look at it. Insane behavior. I'm not humble. Don't say that. It's not worth it. It's not humble, but like let's call it what it is. This is not crazy shit. I tried to find new info and people associated. It's not TMZ. That is true. I don't have an employee system where I'm like, oh, what do we got? What's the scoop? You got a video of Justin Bieber butt naked? Yeah, let's get that out there. That's useful shit. It's time to turn that milk into butter. Yes, sir. Awesome. Well, take care, guys. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the Discord. Probably pop in over the weekend here. Bye-bye.